Hi everyone. So today I'm going to start a new video in the lecture series. This will be like a tutorial session where I'll solve the questions of pre-RMO 2019. So uh, I'll write down the answers and while explaining what I had in mind and why I'm doing each step. So let's start with the first question. So the question says that from a square with side length 5, triangular pieces from the four corners are removed to form a regular octagon. Then find the area removed. So for pre-IMO, the answer to the question should be integers. So we have to write the answer to the nearest integer. The integer could be any two-digit positive number or 0. So first of all, we are given that there is a square with side length 5. So let's draw a square with side length 5, and then four triangular pieces are cut from each corner to form a regular octagon. So we cut out four triangular pieces, and since this is a regular octagon, this cutout piece would be an isosceles triangle. The reason is that this since this is a regular octagon, this angle would be equal to this angle, which means this interior angle would be equal to this, and since this is 90 degree and these two are equal, this will be a regular isosceles. This will be a right angle isosceles triangle. Uh, and we need to find the area of the cut part, so we need to find the sum of areas of these four triangles. And since this is a regular octagon, these four triangles would be congruent to each other, and so we need to find the area of any one of the triangle and we'll multiply this by 4 to get the answer. So let us assume that the side of triangle of this cut part is the length is x, so this length will also be x. Similarly, this length will also be x, and this hypotenuse from a right angle triangle will become then x root 2. So since this is a regular octagon, this length will also be x root 2. Now we know that the length of the side is 5, so x plus x root 2 plus x is equal to 5, which is what I have written here, which means x x is equal to 5 by 2 plus root 2. Now I need to find the area removed, so I need to find 4 times the area of triangle. Area of this right angle triangle is half into base into altitude, so half into x square, so 4 times half into x square, which is 2x square. I already know the value of x from this equation, so I put the value here. And to simplify this, since I have a root 2 plus 1 in the denominator, multiplied by root 2 minus 1 and root 2 minus 1 in both numerator and denominator to simplify this, and in the denominator root 2 plus 1 times root 2 minus 1 becomes root 2 whole square minus 1 square, which is 2 minus 1, which is 1. So overall I have 25 times root 2 minus 1 whole square. Root 2 minus 1 whole square is 3 minus 2 root 2. So I put substitute the value of root 2 here, so it becomes 3 minus 2.828, which is 25 times 0.172. Now I don't want to multiply these two large numbers 25 by this, so I multiply the numerator and denominator by 4, and multiplying this by 4 gives 100, so this is 17.2 upon 4, which is 4.3. So the final answer is 4. This solves the first question. From the next question onwards, I will write down the explanation why. I'll write down the answer while explaining. So yeah. So the question is, let fx equal to x square plus ax plus b is a function. Is basically a quadratic function. So if for all x, for all non-zero x, for all non-zero real number x, f of x plus 1 over x equal to f of x plus f of 1 over x. This is true for all x not equal to 0. Can't be set to be 0 because we are dividing by x over here. And the roots of fx equal to 0 are integers. Then what is the value of a square plus b square? So first of all, one thing that pops into my head is that f of x plus 1 over x equal to f of x plus 1 over f of 1 plus 1 over x. I should simplify this. So let's see what we get when I simplify this. So this f of x plus f of 1 over x. F of x plus 1 over x, fx is given. So this is x plus 1 over x whole square plus a times x plus 1 over x plus b. Now fx is x square plus ax plus b plus f of 1 over x is 1 over x square plus a times 1 over x plus b. So let's expand this term. This is x square plus 1 over x square plus 2x into 1 over x plus ax plus a by x plus b equal to x square plus ax plus b plus 1 over x square plus a by plus b. Now few terms will cancel out from left hand side and right hand side. X square gets cancelled out, 1 over x square gets cancelled out, ax gets cancelled out, a upon x gets cancelled out, one of the b is cancelled out and another b is equal to 2. So I've got the value of b, but I need to find a square plus b square. So let's use another property that's given here. So I am given that the roots of fx equal to 0 are integers. So from the theory of quadratic equations, I know that the roots of an equation, the sum of roots of this equation x square plus ax plus b equal to 0, sum of roots is minus a upon 1, which is minus a, and the product of roots is b. So I know that the product of roots is 2, which means let's say the roots are alpha and beta, then alpha beta is equal to 2, and alpha beta are integers. So the only way that alpha times beta could be equal to 2 is when alpha equal to minus 2 and beta equal to minus 1, or alpha equal to 2 and beta equal to 1. So one of the roots is minus 2 and minus 1, or the other way could be the roots is 2 and 1, because 2 is a prime number. The 2 could not be factored into any other way as a product of two integers. That's why these are the only two possibilities for the roots. So now by the sum of roots formula, I have that a equal to sum of roots minus a equal to sum of roots is either minus 3 or plus 3, which means a square is minus 3 square equal to 9 or plus 3 square equal to 9. So a square is always 9 and b is 2, which means b square is 4. Therefore a square plus b square is 13, which is the answer. Let's look at the third problem. So in the question it's given that x1 is a positive real number, and for every integer n greater than equal to 1, xn plus 1 is 1 plus the product of x1 to xn, and if x5 is 43, then what is the sum of digits of the largest prime factor of S6? So xn plus 1 is defined from x1, x2 and xn, and x5, the value of x5 is given, and I need to find the sum of digits of the largest prime factor of S6. So for finding the sum of digits of largest prime factor of S6, I need to find the largest prime factor of S6, and for that I think I need to find the value of S6. So I'm given that x5 is equal to 43, which means using this equation I can say that 1 plus x1, x2, x3, x4, this is equal to 43, which means x1, x2, x3, x4, this product equal to 42. Now note that for getting the value of x6, I only need to find the value of x1, x2, x3, x4 and x5, and I also don't need to find the exact values. I only need to find the product of these 5 numbers. So for getting S6 I need to find 1 plus x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. I already know this. I calculated this here and I know x5. So x6 is equal to 1 plus x1 to x4 is 42 times 43. So this is equal to 43 times 42, 6, 8, 2, 172, 6018. So this is equal to 1807. So let's take the prime factorization. Let's calculate the prime factorization of 1807 because we need to find the sum of digits of the largest prime factor. So 1807. Let's start with the divisibility with 3. So this 7 plus 1 plus 8 is 16. So this number is not divisible by 3. This number is not divisible by 5 because the last digit is not 0 or 5. This number is not divisible by 7 because I actually check by dividing by 7. So this is 14, 4, 0, 35, then 5, 7. This is not divisible by 7. This is not divisible by 11 because sum of odd digits is 15 and sum of even digits is 1. So the difference is not divisible by 11. So this number is not divisible by 11. For divisibility by 13, I divide by the actual number 13 and see if it's divisible. So 13 remainder is 5, then 50 is 39 and 117 is 9. So this number is divisible by 13. 139 and 139 is a prime number because we already checked the divisibility of this number with all numbers lesser than 13, and 13 this number is not divisible by any number larger than this number is 139 is not the product of two prime numbers larger than 13 because 13 square is 169. So 139 is a prime number. So 139 is the largest prime factor of this number. So sum of digits is 1 plus 3 plus 9 equal to 13. So this is the answer. Okay, so let's look at the fourth question. An ant leaves the anthill for its morning exercise. It walks 4 feet east, then makes a 160-degree turn to the right and walks 4 more feet. It then makes another 160-degree turn to the right and walks 4 more feet. If the ant continues this pattern until it reaches the anthill again, what is the distance in feet it would have walked? So this is an interesting problem, seems to be related to geometry, and the most important part for this problem is to draw the figure correctly. So let's look at the how we'll draw the figure. So the problem says that the ant starts from a point which is the anthill. So this is the anthill, moves 4 kilometer due east, so 4 feet due east, then makes a 160-degree right turn. So from this line it will make a 160-degree right turn, and then again walks 4 feet. So this is 4 and this is again 4. Then again the ant turns 160-degree to the right. So again a right turn, and the ant would reach here and move 4 kilometers. This distance would be the same, and then again it would make a 160-degree turn, continuing so on. At some point the ant will reach the anthill again, and we need to find the distance covered by the ant. So the distance covered by the ant would be 4 times the number of times the ant turned, or the number of vertices in this star-shaped figure that the ant would follow. So we need to find the number of vertices in this star-shaped figure, and one of the vertices would be the anthill, and other vertices would be the turning points over here. So first of all, since the ant is moving equal distances in each between any two turns in each straight path, so we, by symmetry, all these points will lie on a circle, and so that's a crucial observation, and that will help us in solving the problem. So let's draw the figure again with all the points lying on the circle. So we have a circle, and this is the point on the anthill, and travels a distance, then turns 20 degrees, then again 20 degrees, so on. Okay, so and all these angles are equal and are equal to 20 degrees. So, and let's suppose the center of the circle is O. So if there are n vertices in the path of the ant, and in the path of the ant that the ant traveled, this circle would be divided into n equal parts. If there are n vertices in the ant's path, the circle will have n equal segments, and the angle made by each segment, let's say consider this segment, so the angle made by this segment on the circle would be equal to 20 degrees, because each time the ant was taking a 160-degree turn, so 180 minus 60 is 20 degrees. So each angle in the on the circle by the segment is 20 degrees. So the angle made on the center of the circle is twice the angle made at the circumference of the circle. So each segment would make a 40-degree angle at the center of the circle. Each segment makes a 40-degree angle at the center. Now, assuming there are n vertices, there would be n segments which are all equal, and each are making a 40-degree angle at the center. So 40 degree times n would cover this whole circle and would be equal to 360 degrees, which means n equal to 9. So there would be 9 equal segments, there would be 9 vertices, and there would be 9 paths. So the ant covers 4 into 9 equal to 36 feet. Which is the answer. Let's look at problem number 5. So this looks like a difficult problem at first, but it's actually quite simple. So 5 persons wearing badges with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are seated on 5 chairs around a circular table. In how many ways can they be seated so that no two persons whose badges have consecutive numbers are seated next to each other? Each rotation is considered as a different arrangement. So we have a circular table. So this is a counting problem. So let's start by counting. And we have a circular table and we want to we want to have a seating arrangement of 5 people with 5 different badges with some condition that no two persons whose badges have consecutive numbers are seated next to each other. And since rotation is different, means each of the arrangement, let's say I have an arrangement, uh, then I can rotate this by 5 different angles and I can have 5 different arrangements. Let's say I have an arrangement 1 and 3 is over here. I can't have 2 over here and I can't have 5 over here, so 4 would be here and 5 can't be here, so 5 would be here, 2 would be here. So this is a possible arrangement. 1 is next to 3 and 4, 4 is next to 1 and 2, 2 is next to 4 and 5, 5 is next to 2 and 3, 3 is next to 1 and 5. So no two persons with consecutive numbers are seated next to each other, and this will lead to 5 different possibilities of seating, because rotation is different. So I can have another seating, let's say 4, 1, 3, 5, 2. So I haven't changed anything, just that this 4 is sitting at the north position and 1 is sitting over here. So this has been rotated by 72 degrees. So this rotation is different, and we can have 4 more such rotations. So in all, one would be when 2 comes over here, so 2, 4, 1, 3, 5. So this is another possible arrangement. So we can have 5 such arrangements. So 5 there would be 5 different possibilities for this. And so any possible arrangement that we show here would be multiplied by 5 because rotation is considered different. This means that since our total number, since this is a 2-digit answer question, our maximum number could be 95. So over here we'll have only 19 possibilities, so that we can count easily. So let's just start counting now. This is one of the possible arrangements. Another one could be so in all the arrangements that I draw, I'll fix 1 over here, because other arrangements could be drawn by rotating over here. So we will count that by multiplying the final number by 5. Sorry. So setting 1 here, I already have an arrangement where 3 is over here. So another possible arrangement could be when I have 4 over here. So because 2 can't be here, so 1, 4, and on this side I can have either 3 or 5. So let's put 3 over here, and then 5 can't be next to 4, so 2 could be here, and 3 and 5. So this is one possible arrangement. No two consecutive numbers are next to each other. Let's count another possibility. So 1 is over here and 4 is over here, and let's say I put 5 over here. then 5 here is not possible because then 2 and 3 would be next to each other over here. So 1, 4, 5 is not possible. If I set 5 here, then since 2, 3 and 4 are all consecutive, either one of them would be next to each other. So this arrangement is not possible. 2 can't come here, so 2 will come either here or here. So this number could be either 3 or 4. So let's say it's 3 for first case. Then 4 can't be here because 5 is here. 4 can't be here, so this is not possible. If 4 is here, then 2 and 3 would be consecutive. So setting 5 here is not possible. So now we have covered all the cases because setting 5 is not possible, and we have set this as 3 and we have set this as 4, setting this as 1, and all other arrangements are counted because we are multiplying the final answer by 5. So only 2 possible arrangements are there, and 2 times 5, so the final answer is 5 times 2 equal to 10. So implicitly we have used a multiplication principle here. Let me just quickly explain what multiplication principle is. So we want to complete a task, and the task is a combination of 2 subtasks, and when we complete both the subtasks, let's say I have a task A and B, and when I complete both A and B in succession, I complete the whole task. And there are X ways of doing A and there are Y ways of doing B. Then there are X times Y, X into Y ways of doing the whole task. But this will be covered in detail in any permutation lecture that you will see, or any book that you can refer to. I have just used it here, and yeah, this concludes the 5th question. Let's look at the 6th problem. This is also a simple one. Let ABC be a 3-digit number with non-zero digits such that a square plus b square equal to c square. Then what is the largest prime factor of ABC? So ABC is a 3-digit number with non-zero digits, and a square plus b square equal to c square. So which means the 3 digits are Pythagorean triplets, and so we will use one property of Pythagorean triplets, which is any Pythagorean triplets could be represented by r square minus s square, 2rs, and r square plus s square. This is one property, that this represents a Pythagorean triplet where rs are natural numbers and r is greater than s. So this represents a Pythagorean triplet, and any Pythagorean triplets can be put to this form, which means if I have any Pythagorean triplets, let's say 3, 4, 5, then there exist r and s such that r square minus s square equal to 3, 2rs equal to 4, and r square plus s square equal to 5. And from this the exact value of r is 2 and s is 1. So this is one example of this property to use. And so let's get back to to our original problem, and this is a property that we will use. So we are given that ABC is a 3-digit number with non-zero digits, which means A is less than equal to 1 and is less than equal to a is greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 9, and similarly b is also from 1 to 9 and c is also from 1 to 9. Now let's look at this property. Since c is the biggest number out of a, b and c, means that c is equal to r square plus s square, because r square plus s square is biggest of these three. So c is equal to r square plus s square, and since c is less than equal to 9, we know that r square plus s square is less than equal to 9. So r and s are natural numbers, so only possibility for r and s is 1 and 2, because if you take any other natural numbers, let's say you take 1 and 3 or 2, 3 and so on, if you take higher natural numbers, the sum of square will become larger. The sum of 1 square and 3 square is 10, 2 square and 4 square is 13, and so on. This number will increase, but we want c equal to r square plus s square to be less than equal to 9. So 1 and 2 are the only possibility for r square and s square. So c is r square plus s square equal to 5, and b could be either 3 or 4, and similarly a could be either 4 or 3 depending on what b is. So our final number a, b, c could either be equal to 345 or equal to 435. Now let's calculate the prime factorization of these two numbers. To find the largest prime factor, we need to find the largest prime factor of a, b, c. So 345 prime factorization of this, so 5 will become 6, 9 divisible by 3, 23, 435 also divisible by 5, 8, 37, 3, 29. So out of all these factors, 29 is the largest. So our number is 435, and the largest prime factorization is 29, which is the final answer. So this concludes the 6th question.